Last time we were talking about technical descriptions and the micro-genre technical definition, and I also then began talking a little bit about the different levels of editing that you should do. Those levels of editing actually are part of a larger uh, uh, process called document cycling and usability testing, and I want to talk just for a few minutes about what that means. So document cycling allows others to look over your draft and provide feedback. The document cycling allows others to look over your draft and provide feedback. And then usability testing is trying out your document on real readers, and you can have either informal or formal usability testing. Informal usability testing should at least ask other people to look over the document and mark places where they stumble or find it difficult to understand your meaning. In formal usability testing, you can run experiments with sample readers to measure how well they can understand and use your document. And oftentimes usability laboratories are used to observe reactions of readers as they use documents. Typically, there are 4 different questions that individuals use when trying to conduct usability tests, and these usability questions are: can they find it, can they understand it, can they do it, and also, is it safe? And so when we are thinking about can they find it, what we're really asking is, are they able to read and locate the text? Are they used to determine whether users can locate important parts of the document, and how quickly can they do so? And often the users are videotaped and timed while they're using the document. In answering the question, can they understand it, understandability tests are used to determine if users retain important concepts and remember key terms. Users are often asked to summarize parts of the document or define concepts. To answer the question, can they do it, performance tests are used to determine whether users can perform the actions the document describes, and these tests are often used with instructions and procedures. And then finally, is it safe? Safety tests are used to study whether the activities described in the document, especially in instructions or users' manuals, are safe. These tests carefully watch for possible safety problems by having sample readers use the product documentation. So as you're thinking about going through the revising and editing process of your document, here are some question prompts for you to think about. These question prompts also will be what I use to create my rubric when I go to grade your assignment. So here are some things to think about. What term or concept is being defined? Has the term been placed into a category of similar items? Have distinguishing characteristics been used appropriately to separate this term from other terms in its category? And how do those distinguishing characteristics show how the term is unique among the similar items in the category? Does it have an extended definition that begins with the sentence definition to define the term? In other words, does it not only define it as a sentence, but also then looks at one of these other ways to extend the definition? So word origin or history, examples, negation, telling what it is not, division into parts, analogy, or the use of graphics. And I would say that all of you would want to at least do the very last one, the use of graphics, because that is what is required of you. Next, is the subject of the technical description clear to the readers? Is the item, place, or process being described clearly defined? Okay, so that goes back to the previous slide. Does the introduction of the description offer an overall view of the subject? Should more background information be included, or do you have too much detail? Remember, you only have a 2-page limit. In other words, this technical description should fit on the front and back of one sheet of paper. So you have to be careful about negotiating the level of specificity. You need enough detail so that you can inform the reader, but you don't want so much detail that you go over the page limit or you overwhelm the reader. Can you clearly identify the partitioning strategy used in this description? And maybe you'll use more than one method of partitioning, but talking about features, functions, or stages in a process. Are each of the partitions handled in sufficient depth? If not, is more detail needed? Does the technical description have a clear beginning, middle, and end? So just like most documents, there should be a definite introduction, a body, and a conclusion to this particular document. Is the style appropriate within the document? Has the author or the team chosen plain words that the readers of the technical definition or description will understand? Is the sentence length just right? Not too short, not too long. Is the design of the technical description appropriate? In other words, have you taken into account the intended readers or what the context is for the use of this document? And again, I would really urge you to go back and read the case scenario very carefully. Think about your audience as you are designing this technical description. Could the writers use the senses better to add details to the description? Are graphics used effectively to help readers visualize the subject? Should the author add headings to divide the technical definition into parts? And then finally, thinking about that very last level of proofreading, are there any mechanical errors, typos, spelling, or grammatical problems?